Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Mara. Welcome to my channel, The Champagne Stitcher. I hope you're doing well. I am. Since the last time I saw you, I finished 2 projects and one is very close to being finished. So I thought, I have the afternoon off. I'll just make a quick video to show you all what I've been working on, what I finished, and I also have a little bit of hauls. So yeah, we'll just jump straight into it. So I'm gonna jump into it with my first finish of the year, which was Deepest Love by Mirabilia. Here she is. Hope you guys can see it okay. Let me bring her in a little bit closer. So yeah, she was my first finish of the year. She was stitched from the 5th of December till the 10th of January and finished exactly at midnight. So yeah, it took a little bit over a month to finish stitching her, but I'm guessing if you removed all of the dates where I was out on a weekend or with the holidays and everything, that the stitching probably took less than that. But the majority of that time was spent on the 1/1 skin, which, I survived. That's all I can say about that. I did mention in my previous video, like, what I do whenever I have blended colors when it comes to skin, in which I do like a checkerboard pattern. But now that the skin is finished, I can maybe show you a little bit more close up what that looks like. So yeah, she was stitched on 32 counts colonial blue even weave by Zweigart, which is not the called for, but everything else from the beads to the DMC to the Krynic, that's all the called for. I did make some slight changes to, well, I made one change to the design, and that's just in the shape of the eyebrows. If you look at the original design, her eyebrow kind of goes straight up, and I wanted kind of more of a softer expression, so I did change that to be angled slightly differently. Here it is up close in case anybody wants to replicate it. The only other thing I also changed is, well, not really changed, but I kind of played with the direction of the beads, because usually whenever I finish a Mirabilia, I will, take care to make sure that all the beads are angled in the same direction. But in this case, I kind of played around with it, because usually I choose the direction of my beads based on how structural or kind of like dynamic the design is. So if the design is more dynamic, I'll probably put the beads more at an angle. If the design is more structural, I'll put the beads up like straight on, like straight up. And for this, I thought, she has quite a bit of a mixture of the two, because there is movement in her. Like she has like the hair going with the waves and the leaves and everything. So there is like movement to her in the ribbon and everything. But there were these slight structural designs, like for example in these kind of, not snowflakes, but like, what do you call them even? You know what, sea flakes, whatever. And those were all kind of the same design over and over again. And because that was the case, I thought, okay, that's more of a structural design. So for those little elements, I did the beads straight up, and everything else I did at an angle when you look at the beads. So I'll just zoom in a little bit more here so you can kind of see the difference of what I mean. So in my head now, her face is in the view. So here I did all of the beads at an angle. And then when you move into the ribbon and you see these little flaky kind of things, they look like snowflakes. That's where I angled the beads straight up, just to, I don't know, I thought it would add a little bit of dynamics to the design and it fitted it more. So yeah, that's what I did. But yeah, that's what she looks like. Oh, I was going to say, if you were ever to stitch this design, the only area where you are expected to use the Krynic is in this little backstitch area here in the fin. So I would say if you're working on this design and you're trying to kit it up, I don't think that particular area is all that much needed, because I know that there's like a shortage of Krynic at the moment. I thought if you are kitting this up and you're waiting to get this started until you can get your hands on the Krynic, there's really no need, because even without that Krynic, I think this design looks beautiful. And there's so little of it that's being used that you might as well use kind of like a DMC metallic or whatever it is you can get your hands on that's kind of similar colored. Like, I would not be holding out for Krynic to restock this particular color in order to finish this design. I think this can be finished quite perfectly even with like a substitute or even without doing this particular bit of backstitch. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that I ordered a whole skein of that thread only for it to be used in like this little area of the design. But yeah, it's a nice effect, but I'm sure it could have been replicated with a DMC metallic or some other kind of metallic thread. So yeah, for the final time, this is what she looks like. And now she can join the others in the drawer. Okay, so this next finish that I have is actually not cross stitch, it's embroidery, but this channel won't be becoming an embroidery channel soon. I purchased this just for the purpose of trying to find out whether or not embroidery is something that I would be interested in pursuing or anything, and I don't. But this is a beautiful kit, and I can only recommend the kit and the seller of this. So this is Waterlilies by BloomingDayArt on Etsy. So it's supposed to be an embroidery recreation of the Waterlilies paintings by Monet, not sure how you say it in English, Monet. So this was stitched from the 11th to the 16th of January, and with the kit that you purchase on Etsy, you get everything included: the hoop, the fabric, the threads, a booklet with instructions, and even some backing fabric. I, however, did not finish it the way that the instructions tell you to finish it, because in the booklet, it kind of explains how you should use the backing fabric and kind of like hot glue it to the hoop. Thing is, I've never worked with hot glue before, so I was too scared to do that. So what I just did is I did like what I've seen other people finish their hoops like. So this is, I think, what it's supposed to look like. I cut up some of the backing fabric that was provided in a circle and just kind of packed it in there, added my initials and the year that I finished it, and then just cinched in all the edges. So that's the way I finished it. I'm sure it's not as neat as it could be, but I'm happy with it. Anything to avoid working with hot glue. I had nightmares of just like, you know, buying a gun, getting the hot glue on there, and just like immediately having a dollop fall on top of the design. So I was just like, no, that's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna do it the way that I've seen other people do it, just slightly worse, probably. But yeah, so embroidery, turns out it isn't for me. The randomness of it all is just kind of scary to me. Although, like, the instructions with this particular kit and this particular seller, like, I really appreciate all of the work that they put into this design. So when you receive the fabric, you have like kind of a harsh drawing of where everything should be located on top of the fabric, like it's kind of printed on there. And then you receive the booklet, and the booklet is really clear, because the way that these kits work, well, this kit at least, is you work color by color. So first you'll get like a darker green, and you'll have to lay all of those stitches down, and you'll work up to a lighter green, to a pink, to a blue, everything like that. And so the way that this booklet was structured is, so you work in steps, each step is a color, and with each step they would provide a picture of what it looks like after the step is done, and also a small drawn diagram in which they show you where you should place the colors and kind of like how sparse or how full that color should be in that area. So when it comes to like explaining how this should be done and all the instructions and the tips and everything, that was all fantastic. The problem is me. I do not work well with randomness, and even though we received like clear guidelines of where to put the threads, where to include the stitches and everything, where to include which color, I don't work well with randomness, and I basically, instead of, you know, just following what the booklet says and kind of roughly estimating where I should put each thread, I would actually just look at the picture provided of what it should look like at the end of each step and try to exactly copy and paste the stitches and where the creator, the seller, had placed them. And yeah, it stressed me out more than anything. I can't work, my brain doesn't work in the sense of like, oh, you can just like do long and short stitches. Like, no, they have to be, I need an exact length. And because of that, I used mostly the pictures to base myself off of. And even then it wasn't perfect, because, you know, embroidery isn't supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be kind of random. But yeah, so I discovered that this wasn't for me, but I do have to say, if you are interested in embroidery, I cannot recommend this kit enough because I've seen multiple because this seller does like multiple painting recreations that she sells, like embroidery kits on her Etsy. And I do think that some styles allow for more kind of improvisation than others. And Monet, because his color, like the way he uses color is so kind of like, not random, but there's like clear groupings. I think that Monet's style is easier to copy, and this particular design is easier to copy than some of the other paintings that she offers in her store. So I cannot recommend this enough, and in case you want to try embroidery, but yeah, in general, not for me. I love the result. I'm gonna be really proud in hanging this up because it looks beautiful, and it's really, I mean, the colors are gorgeous, and I'm proud of myself for trying it once. But yeah, this is not something I'm gonna be repeating soon. So that's it for my finishes. So I'm just gonna jump straight into what I'm working on currently, which is Moonlight Garden by the Drawn Thread. So this is what she looks like at the moment. She is nearing a finish, so all that I have left to do is working on this border, some of the colors I still need to complete, and then there's some trees and specialty stitches that need to be done here. And also I just now frogged some wording here down at the bottom. There should be some wording here, but I thought I could do better, so I frogged it. But yeah, I think I should be able to finish it this week, at least I hope. So yeah, I bought this project as a kit from the Nimble Thimble, but I'm not using all of the materials that were provided in the kit. So for one thing, I exchanged the fabric. So this is 32 count slate blue even weave by Zweigart. The fabric that we received in the kit is actually very similar to the fabric that I'm using, but the reason that I exchanged it is because there is a person on Instagram who had the most beautiful finish of this project I've ever seen. Their name is Gingerbread Man on Instagram. So yeah, they have a beautiful finish, and basically I just wanted to copy exactly what they did, including the fabric. So I especially ordered this fabric from Germany because apparently a lot of sites don't really carry this color here. So yeah, I ordered the fabric from Germany, ordered the kit from the UK. And yeah, I exchanged it basically for the fabric that she used. It wasn't until afterwards, when I was working on this particular project, that I noticed that some of the colors that I had in my kit didn't really match up with the colors that I saw in her finished photos. So I reached out and asked like, oh, did you make any exchanges for the threads and everything? And it turned out that they had made a lot of exchanges to the threads. I think they used all of threads from Stash, basically, so none of the called for, and I only have the called for. So I decided from that point on, you know what, I'm just going to use what I received with the kit, because I know that I'll have the right amount of thread for me to finish this. But I'll also make a few changes to make it look more like the way I envisioned it and the way it looked in their finish. So for example, there's this design here with that's all satin stitch, and looking at the finish that they made, it looked more kind of like light blue whitish, but the color that is supposed to be used for this particular design was actually quite a bit darker. I'm gonna see if I can show you. Yeah, I have it here. So this particular color is the one that was called for to do those satin stitches. And yeah, I wasn't feeling it. I don't really like these colors either. It's like dark gray and browns and stuff, and I'm not really into that. So in exchange, I used a Karen Waterlilies that's quite light. So it's kind of like, it's a light blue with white with the lightest touch of pink ever mixed into each other. So I think the Karen Waterlilies I used for this area was number 146. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I think so. Let me just, you know what, I have it here somewhere, so I'll pull it out. Yeah, this one. So this is what I exchanged it for. So that was the first change I made. So once I saw that the color provided in the kit didn't look anything like a Gingerbread Man's finish, I exchanged it for that color. What else did I change afterwards? Oh, there was an area here. Let me just see if I can show you correctly. There's an area here with the flowers, if you can see. All of those little beads are supposed to be French knots. I tried doing the French knots. I finished doing the French knots. They didn't really look all that good. The thing is, with these drawn thread instructions, usually you get the instruction to use only one thread, and for these particular French knots, you had to use one thread, only wind the needle twice, and then like going through back to the fabric to create the French knot. But because the thread is, kind of thin, and the thread was only wound twice, and the fabric is kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but basically whenever I tried to do a French knot, it would just like slip under the fabric and I have to start all over again. And if they did work out, then they weren't even, then they weren't uniform. And I just started thinking, like at some point I'm gonna want to have this project framed, and if I want to have glass over it, then the glass will touch the French knots, and whatever happens there, it will make sure that none of the French knots look uniform, even if I was able to make them look uniform. So at that point, I frogged all of the French knots, and I just decided to use mini beads in exchange for them. I think I kept the color here somewhere. Yeah. So I used Mill Hill Petite Glass beads in shade and 40123. And it matches perfectly with the color of yellow that you're provided with the kits. So it's just, it's close enough. If you look at this, the French knots are supposed to be in that yellow color, and I exchanged it with those beads. So I think it's pretty good, a pretty good matchup, and I'm happy with the look of the beads anyway. Much happier than I would have been with the French knots. So yeah, that's one of the changes I made. I also exchanged some of the beads. So normally the beads that are supposed to be located in these little designs here are supposed to be silver, but again, they did not look like that in Gingerbread Man's finish, so I decided to pick out my own beads. I decided on color 00479, so this is what they look like. And that's what I exchanged those beads for. So yeah, I've been personalizing this design quite a bit. Not hugely so, like I haven't made any major changes, just changes to fit more into what I had in my imagination of what this finish would look like than it actually does. Oh, I also, there's a center motif here. It's just like in my snap at the moment, so you can't see it, but there's like a part here in the design where there's like supposed to be a center of the garden, so to speak. So you can see it here, kind of. It's supposed to be right here. Currently, there's a design there, the one that's charted per the chart. However, I just made a order from Casa Chinina, which is one of my favorite cross-stitch sites, because I had a coupon. Fair enough. And I decided, since this is Moonlight Garden, and since there's supposed to be like snowflakes in this design once this is finished with beads and everything, I decided to see if there was a Mill Hill bead that was shaped like a snowflake that could possibly fit within that center design. And so I ordered 2 of those, so I have options. So I'm waiting for that order to arrive, and then maybe if it fits, I'll be able to put it in that center motif, so it will be another kind of personalization of this design. If it doesn't, I'll just keep it as charted, but I just wanted to try it because Moonlight Garden, snowflakes, might as well use like a nice fancy bead to kind of like round it all off if possible. So yeah. That's what she's looking like. Not much left to go. I think I'll have her finished by the end of this week. And yeah, I'm really happy because this was one of my unicorn designs, mainly because of Gingerbread Man's finish, because I thought it would end up exactly like their finish. It won't, but I'm really happy that I stitched this. This will have pride of place in my apartment once it's framed. I'm also really looking forward to kind of framing it in a similar way that they did, because they used a gold frame, and gold and blue is kind of my style. Like everything in my apartment apart from this wall is a mix of gold and blue. So yeah, once this is framed, once I have like a nice gold, like Baroque or Renaissance style frame, I think it'll look really beautiful on my wall. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to finishing and hanging and framing and everything like that. So yeah, that's everything with Moonlight Garden. I think I'm now going to hop into a little bit of haul, and then I have some plans to discuss. So my haul isn't really huge. This is all just gifts that I received after Christmas from, like, these were gifts that were supposed to have been received at Christmas, but because of reasons they were delayed. So I bought these. The thing is, for Christmas in our family, we buy our own gifts, and we basically just wrap them up, give them to the person who we're supposed to receive them from, and then immediately get them back. Especially for me, for cross stitch, that's really easy because I know exactly what's in my storage, what's in my inventory. My family doesn't really know what I have and don't have, so for me it's easy to just kind of pick my own gifts. So that's what I did. I ordered these, well, I bought these at a embroidery cross stitch kind of fair in Belgium. And so yeah, wrapped them up, waited until Christmas to receive them, but because of circumstances, I received them after Christmas. But yeah, just real quick, this is a pattern that I got. This is Celtic Spring from Lavender and Lace. And now that I have her, I mean, I'm gonna have to collect the rest. It's law. So I have Spring, I think there's 4 or 5 others. I know there's the other seasons plus a Christmas design. Not sure if I'm gonna do the Christmas design, even though she's beautiful, but I feel like I have so many projects lined up, so many fancy ladies lined up. I feel like if I were to ever finish the 4 seasonal ladies, like summer, autumn, spring, whatever, I think if I finish those, then I'll reward myself with also getting the Christmas one. But until then, I'm just gonna stick with the one that I have, and just purchase the additional ones once I've actually finished one, because I'm not trying to do like a no buy this year, but I am trying to do like a low buy. I've given myself a few excuses, well, not excuses, but like reasons of when I can buy something. So one of those reasons is, for example, right now with my order with Casa Chinina, I had a coupon. I can't let that, run away. That's just a waste of money, basically. Girl math. So yeah, in case I have a coupon, in case I'm somewhere where it's like an exclusive or it's limited edition or something. For example, if I see a hand-dyed fabric and it's going to be like a unique run of that particular color, that kind of thing. And also, like, if I'm in a place where I won't, be visiting it anytime soon and they happen to have something exclusive to that place. So for example, I'll be attending the Essex Needles Retreat in September. Let me know in the comments if you are too, because I'm trying to see if I can already like catch up with some people who are going there. But yeah, I'm going to that in September, and there's going to be some vendors there, so that will be an opportunity for me to try brands that I've never tried before, or buy fabrics that I won't usually have the access to. So for those reasons, I'm like okay with buying this year, but other than that, I'm trying to keep it kind of low key this year when it comes to purchasing. But yeah, so I'll head into the rest of my haul. So these are some fabrics that I bought from the same fair. I believe these are all Fabric Flare products, but I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, I think the logo is supposed to be for Fabric Flare. So I got all of 3 of these. So this is kind of like a Starry Night design, but it's still quite pastel-y. So I'm imagining these will be good for like Nora Corbett designs that are kind of smaller than the regular Mirabilias or something else. But yeah, I can't resist the sparkle, and yeah, these are opalescent as well, so I don't really like the feel of these all that much, but to be honest, when you're stitching on them, I'm sure you don't really feel it that much. Plus, it's not like huge designs are going to fit on this, so whatever it is I make on these fabrics will probably take less than a month to finish. So yeah, I just thought they were great for just whenever I find like a very charming, whimsical design that's kind of small, I can put them on there. The next one is kind of similar. It's more of like a moon design. Also opalescent. So that's what that looks like. And this next one, I actually have quite a solid idea of what I want to stitch on this. So this one's the most terrible when it comes to texture. Like this one feels really scratchy and hard, but it's also very pretty. It's these snowflakes. And the idea I have with this one is that the Nora Corbett has a design that's kind of like a Santa's sleigh kind of design-ish. So I thought that would be perfect to go on this particular fabric with the snowflakes and everything. So at one point in my life, I'll get to that. But yeah, that's the plan for this particular fabric. And also, again, with the opalescence, I hope you can see the sparkle. I can't resist a good sparkly fabric. That was haul. I'm now going to start moving over into plants. I need to start thinking about this because Moonlight Garden's nearly finished, but I'm almost 100% certain that the next design I'll be stitching is Star Cats by Cross Stitch Patterns on Etsy. I'll be showing it on the screen here if I can. So it's like a galaxy design with cats. I have everything that I need for this particular design. I have a fabric chosen out, I have the DMC, I have the charts. The only thing that's making me kind of like hold back on being like 100% certain that this will be my next stitch is that I had an idea this week. So, the idea. The design is called Star Cats. DMC has a line of thread called étoile, which means star in French, and it's like this cotton thread with metallic woven throughout. And I was just thinking, what if I did the Star Cats design in étoile threads by DMC, like Star Cats, star threads. The only thing that's holding me back from doing this is the fact that DMC étoile doesn't really come in every single color of like the regular DMC cotton. And I'm not sure what that would look like if like only half or a quarter or a third of the threads colors were available in étoile. If I were to mix them then with the regular cotton threads, if that would look nice. I'm not sure about that. Like if the stitches are next to each other, will they still be able to look uniform? Will it look kind of messy if there's only like, you know, glints of sparkle here and there from the few colors that DMC carries in étoile? So that's kind of the only thing that's holding me back from starting it straight after Moonlight Garden is finished. I think what I need to do is just kind of go through Facebook groups and see if anybody else has ever done a design or done a chart or whatever with a mix of both DMC and étoile threads to see kind of like what effect that creates. And if I think it's a nice effect, then I'll just go ahead and get all of those DMC threads where possible in the shades that they provide. And yeah, I'll get to it at some point. But yeah, that's just something I need to think about before I start that. But that will just be like a quick search through the Facebook groups, try to figure out if it looks good, and if it doesn't, then we know what we're gonna do. If it does look good, then I need to go shopping. But if I'm unable to make a decision on that, my next design will probably be North Atlantic Mermaid by Nora Corbett. This design has been living rent-free in my head for the past 6 months. I just love the way that she looks so much, and I'm so looking forward to stitching her that I'm sure she's going to be one of the next designs coming up either way. So yeah, I also have all the called for her except for the fabric, but I do have